Okay, let me see if I can do a recap of the day. First, you might notice that I'm not posting lots of serious pictures. You're going to see pictures of the hotel I'm not staying at with the swimming pool and the palm trees, and it's beautiful. And uh, you're going to see pictures like that. What you're not going to see is any pictures really of the camp. I have a few pictures that you've seen right outside our clinic, but we're not allowed to take these pictures. We can't take pictures going in. It's a military installation, and SAMS could be kicked out if we violated that. There's good reasons for it. We have to avoid taking pictures without permission because so many of these people have family members still in Syria, and that could put their family members in grave danger. And we have to be respectful. And I'm not crazy about taking a lot of pictures because I'm being a therapist, and it's hard to be a therapist and be someone that might be a little bit of a tourist at the same time. And so the pictures that I will be posting won't be mine. They'll be the professional documentary people who have permission and can go places I can't go and can take pictures of children. The other thing is, our little piece of the camp where the clinic is in the first precinct or district or zone or whatever it's called, and there are 10 of those. It's supposed to serve the entire camp. Anyone in the camp can use the services, but in reality it doesn't serve the whole camp only because people cannot easily get to it if they're in those far zones of 10 zones away. Remember I said there's no vehicles. I did see a large wheeled wagon that was being pulled by a donkey or a mule today. That was kind of unusual. And like I said, lots of very old bicycles. But the women walk, and this camp is 16 square miles. It's huge. Anyway, so you're going to see a limited amount of sad pictures. Today was a kind of unusual day. First thing I did when I got into camp was I was interviewed for a documentary film they're making, and it's not like, ooh, I was interviewed. Everybody's being interviewed, but talking about the experiences of the people that I'm working with without violating any confidentiality, and that was interesting. I did not have a busy day. I was by myself at the camp. And I expected it to be very busy, but there's a stigma with mental health. I think we should change the name to auxiliary services or holistic health or something that doesn't say mental health or psychology or psychiatry, because I think the stigma is that if you need to see us, either you're weak or you're really crazy, and neither one of those cases are true. So I did see one case that lasted a good long time and used multiple services and felt good about the case, and especially about my translator. But the rest of the day I looked for work, so I did some prep. I'm going to be in I can't say the name of it again. Erbil? I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. It's one of the larger cities, and it's a college town in Iraq. It's not far from Syria. And I'll be at a clinic there tomorrow and Wednesday, and I was told to be prepared to train staff there, and since I train staff all over Asia, that's not a big deal. Possibly do case management and see cases. And so it kind of reminds me of being in Asia, where we just have to be really flexible and know that whatever we plan isn't necessarily what's going to happen. So I then, I did time doing my preps, and then going out and helping the people who are doing their documentary filming. One of my jobs was to keep the children away from them, because these children are really clingy, intrusive, lots of energy, wants attention, and they like us. It's really hard to interview somebody when that's happening, especially when the person you're interviewing, you can't film their face at all. You can just their hands, their back, because they have family in Syria, and so you want to make sure that you're paying attention to everything, because there could be consequences for people. And so I was a little bit of a gatekeeper, but then I also spent time in the clinic just with the children. And at one time I had 14 children clinging to me like I was a maypole. And they were fascinated by my old look. They kept tugging on my beard. I think they thought I was either Santa Claus or a wizard. They were really interested in my bracelets. They kept wanting them, and I can't give them to them because they have very little belongings, and you give one toy away and kids get trampled. And so I explained to them that these were prayers. They're Buddhist meditations, but the closest I could get to that was prayer. That led to a whole conversation on how this old white guy prays, and so that was kind of interesting. And they wanted to know, do I pray to Allah? And since Allah is God, I said yes. And for you Christians that are upset by that, get over it. It's what Christians in this part of the world call God and have done so for the last 2,000 years. So it was actually a really good time being with the kids. I didn't mention yesterday that when we were driving to the camp, there were detours. Our bus driver got a little bit lost, and we almost went to Syria. Luckily, Dr. Hines knew 2 words in Arabic. One was stop, and the other one was turn right or right. And so we didn't go to Syria. So that was kind of interesting. This evening, we went back to the Hallmark or Landmark Hotel, and then we went to a agency founded by 6 Syrian women that I think it's Syriat Across Borders, and they have this beautiful building. It's kind of a gorgeous mansion with courtyards and bedrooms, and they've turned it into a rehab facility for people who were seriously injured by the war. And so you have men who are amputees, who have spinal cord injuries, traumatic brain injuries, missing arms and legs. I mean, just real problems. Who are there and are being treated holistically. So it's not just that they're getting their artificial limbs or surgeries, but and their physical treatments, but they're really being built up, lifted up, learning skills and stuff. But the war does not just affect men. The bombs don't just fall on men. And so there are women there, and there are children, and that was difficult. So we go there, and first we have a video presentation on what they do. It's just very, very impressive, especially to think that this was started by 6 women and not some corporation or something. And then we had this fantastic Syrian dinner. And I gotta tell you, I just love Syrian food. It is so, so good. And then we went and so a number of these women, their breadwinners are dead or in prison, and so it's up to them to support their family. And so they produce things. They're given vocational skills, and they produce things that they then sell. And so I have my beautiful Syrian scarf on. I'm told that if I want to be Jordanian, I wear it on my head. But since the people who were selling to me were Syrian, they said, we don't know how they put it on their head. And this here is from a famous poem. And basically what it says, it talks about the man who wants to cry, but his tears will not come out. His tears will not be released, which I find ironic. Anyway, so this is my scarf. And then we spent time with the residents. A lot of the artwork that was there was painted by the children in Camp Zadari, and I did take some pictures of that, and you'll see that. We spent time with the children, the women, the men, and then afterwards had the homemade baklava, and it was just a lovely, powerful, sad, uplifting night, and that's probably a good description of everything here. I will be meeting with a woman who's working on a project. The newspaper there is distributed a couple times a week and a month, and I think it goes out to 9,000 people. And so they're doing photography. The goal is to do photography with the children. And so I'll be talking to her about the camp. Go Docs, they're doing that on their own, global doctors. And possibly people from St. Francis working together on this project from a distance. And so I'll be talking to people like Kara Wade and Kim Bowers, did I mention it's a newspaper and there's writing involved, and maybe a counseling club for fundraising or social work club. And so we'll just explore possibilities of getting our folks involved in sharing their developing skills with people who need that and who need the attention in a really good humanitarian project. So anyway, so that's it. I'm exhausted. Tomorrow night we have debriefing. I didn't know about that. I did know about it, but I arranged to forget about it because I was with a group that's supposed to go out to the Roman ruins and the open markets at night, and I really want to do that. And I know how to debrief me, not myself, but how to use debriefing. But that's the other part, is that's really critical. You're seeing this smiling face, but this is really hard work. The nurses and doctors talk about they do objective medicine, and yet the stories they hear blow them away, kick them in the guts, and etch their images into their brains, and they have a hard time. And they wonder about us because the stories we hear are just visceral and go on and have so many triggers, and they're hard to. It's hard to go on to the next thing, and so I understand the value of debriefing, and I understand the value of having to practice real self-care. And so those are just some thoughts for today. I'll be sending out pictures later on, and I think that's it. Take care. Good night. See you tomorrow.